In 1944, as the tide of World War II began to turn, the German High Command, the Abwehr, rested easy on one particular front. They believed they had an invisible army inside Great Britain. A network of dozens of secret agents was supposedly operating in the shadows of London, Liverpool, and Dover. These spies were reporting on troop movements, the location of munitions factories, and the precise impact points of V-1 rockets. Berlin was so impressed with their work that they sent thousands of pounds in cash and even awarded their best agents the Iron Cross. But there was a secret that wouldn't be revealed for decades. Every single one of those agents was a fake. Not only had they been caught by the British, but they had been turned. They were being managed, scripted, and fed lines by a small group of MI5 officers in a basement in London. This was the double-cross system. This is the story of how the British took control of the enemy's entire intelligence network and used it to win the war. The system didn't start as a grand master plan. It started with a man named Arthur Owens. To the Germans, he was Agent Johnny. To the British, he would become Agent Snow. Owens was a Welsh electrical engineer who traveled frequently to Germany for business. He was a classic mercenary. He didn't care about ideology. He cared about money. He began selling secrets to the Nazis, but he was clumsy. The MI5 intercepted his mail and realized he was a spy. When they confronted him in 1939, Owens didn't choose martyrdom. He chose survival. He offered to work for MI5 as a double agent. This presented MI5 with a radical opportunity. Usually, when you find a spy, you hang them. But MI5 officer Thomas Robertson had a better idea. If you kill a spy, the enemy just sends a new one, someone you might not find. But if you keep the spy alive and control their radio, you own the frequency the enemy listens to. Soon, the XX Committee, the Double Cross Committee, was formed, led by an Oxford Don named John Masterman. Their goal was simple: to weave a web of fiction so dense that Hitler wouldn't be able to see the truth through it. To make a lie believable, you need great actors. The XX Committee's agents were some of the most eccentric characters of the 20th century. First, there was Agent Tricycle. His real name was Duško Popov, a Serbian playboy who loved fast cars and expensive women. He was so charismatic that the Germans trusted him with their most sensitive questions. Legend has it he was the primary inspiration for Ian Fleming's James Bond. Then there was Agent Zigzag, Eddie Chapman, a career criminal and safecracker who had been in a Jersey prison when the Nazis invaded. He convinced the Germans he would sabotage a British aircraft factory. Instead, MI5 helped him fake the explosion using smoke generators and camouflage. The Germans were so thrilled, they paid him a fortune. But the greatest of them all was Agent Garbo. Joan Puig Garcia was a Spaniard who wanted to fight fascism. When the British initially rejected him, he decided to self-start. He went to the Germans and pretended to be a pro-Nazi official traveling to London. In reality, he went to Lisbon, Portugal, with nothing but a map of England, a blue guide tourist book, and a vivid imagination. He began writing fake reports. He convinced the Germans he had a network of 27 sub-agents across the UK. He was so successful at lying that MI5 finally realized his genius and brought him to London to lead the deception for the biggest event of the war, D-Day. By 1944, the Allies were preparing to invade Europe. If the Germans knew the target was Normandy, they could concentrate their panzers and push the Allies back into the sea. The double-cross system was tasked with the impossible. Convinced Hitler the invasion was happening at Pas-de-Calais, 150 miles away. The agents went to work. They sent thousands of messages. They reported on a massive, fake army group called Fusag, led by General George Patton. To back up the spies' stories, the British built the Ghost Army. They placed inflatable rubber tanks and wooden planes in the fields of Kent. From a German spy plane, it looked like a massive invasion force. On June 6th, the real D-Day happened in Normandy. But the deception wasn't over. Agent Garbo sent an urgent message to Berlin after the landings had started. He told them, "The Normandy landing is a trap. It is a diversion to draw your troops away from the real attack coming at Calais." Because the Germans had trusted Garbo for years, they believed him. Hitler personally ordered 2 panzer divisions and an entire 15th Army to stay in Calais. They waited for an invasion that never came, while the Allies secured the beachheads at Normandy. The double-cross system didn't just hide the truth. It made the enemy act against their own interests. When the war ended, John Masterman, the head of the XX Committee, made a startling claim. He said, "By the end of the war, we actively ran and controlled the entire German espionage system in Great Britain. It remains the only time in the history of warfare that one side has completely captured the other's intelligence network." The German handlers never realized they had been duped. In fact, Agent Garbo was awarded the Iron Cross by the Germans and an MBE by the British, receiving honors from both sides for the same war. The story of the German spies in Britain isn't a story of treason. It's a story of a few brilliant minds who realized that in war, information is more lethal than any bullet. They turned the enemy's own eyes into a blindfold, and in doing so, they changed the course of history. This is WW2 War Room, and this has been the Puppet Masters.